Welcome to Real Agriculture. I'm Bernard Tobin. Today I'm joined by Susan Fitzgerald. Susan is the Executive Director of the Ontario Certified Crop Advisor Association. Welcome to Real Agriculture, Susan.
Well, thanks, Bernard, and thanks for the invitation to join you today.
Hey, earlier this week, you announced that 40 of your certified crop advisors had just achieved their 4R Nutrient Management Specialist designation. Tell us about the designation and what does it qualify these CCAs to do?
So the CCA for our nutrient management specialty, it's an additional specialty certification for individuals who are already Ontario CCAs, and it builds upon the nutrient, soil, and water components of their certification. So the intent really is, like, not all CCAs are involved in or focus on nutrient management, but for those who do, what this specialty designation allows is for them to be recognized for their knowledge and skills in that area. So for them, writing and passing this 4R exam, it demonstrates their proficiency in working with the 4R concept and building that into nutrient management planning. Now, 4R, that concept or that philosophy, as I'm sure you know, relates back to selecting the right product, rate, source, etc. So building in that concept into nutrient management planning.
Susan, talk a little bit about how this designation came about. It's offered in 17 U.S. states, but Ontario is the first Canadian region to get involved.
Yeah, we were pretty pleased about that. You're right, Ontario was the first area, and we're the only one so far that has offered it. We really felt that this was an important certification to offer to our CCAs, and simply because there is so much interest in water quality, environmental stewardship, etc., that we felt it would be very popular with our membership base, and it's shown to be the case. Our first exam was offered last August, so August in 2016. We had 65 that wrote the exams last August, and we had 49 people pass. So those 49 were our first CCAs with that 4R designation. And then this past February was the second exam sitting, and at that one we had 40 people out of 50 that passed, so that was 80% of those writing passed, and now we're at 89 CCAs with their 4R specialty. We're very pleased with that number and the enthusiasm, especially for the August exam last year, because August is a very busy time, as you know, for our CCAs. And so that the fact that there were 65 people that committed to writing an exam in August, we felt spoke very highly of this designation and how seriously CCAs do take nutrient management planning and environmental stewardship. And so we have, as I say, the 89 CCAs now in Ontario, but right across North America, as you mentioned, there's 17 states in the one province. There's 189. So when you think there's 189 in total across North America and 89 of those located in our province.
Almost half.
Almost half, and after only 2 exam sittings. The exam will be offered again next February, so February 2018. I expect to see some more come along then as well.
Now, you mentioned you had over 80% passing rate in Ontario, but across North America, that rate's almost just over 60%. Talk about what's involved here. This isn't a piece of cake.
No, it's not, and I'm not going to say that our Ontario folks outdid their U.S. counterparts, but I think they took it very seriously. You know, they didn't just think, I can walk in and write this exam. They really did do some preparatory work. We did put together a 4R resource guide that was available to them if they wished, and the vast majority did get access to that guide and did some studying. We also offered a one-day workshop just to brush up on those concepts. And again, not everyone attended, but the majority did. So I think they took it very seriously. They didn't think this was just something they could just, walk in or cram the night before. So I would say very good preparation, and also, working with it on a day-to-day basis as well, that they do have those concepts entrenched in their everyday in-field practice as well.
Mm-hmm. Now we're seeing more and more concern about, water quality, nutrients, environment stewardship. It's coming from governments, obviously here in the province in Ontario, and there's a big role to play for your members. Well, how do you see that happening in the future? I mean, you're getting tapped sort of to help manage all these issues. Obviously that's going to be something that's going to just increase in the future.
Yes, I think so for sure. And in this case, we're talking about water quality, environmental stewardship, nutrient management, that kind of thing. But I just think in general, and Bernard, you and I have talked before about the number of CCAs, and we see this number steadily growing. We're at 585 in the province now. And I think what we're seeing is there's no shortage of information out there, whether it be online, in print, etc. There's a wealth of information, but it's sorting through that and being sort of the consolidator of information, sorting through it, whether it's research results or whatever that information source or resource is, and saying this is how we can apply it in Ontario and at a particular farm level and maybe even in a particular field. So that's the role I see for CCAs, is being that consolidator of information, sifting through it and saying this is how we can take it, and working with their growers to say this is how we can apply it on your farm on this particular field. So that's the role I see them playing there. And certainly, as you say, with the increased emphasis, whether it be from society in general or from within our agricultural community or from government, on those areas, of improved water quality and environmental stewardship and long-term sustainability as well.
Yeah. Hey, you also have some other irons in the fire. You're not about to stand pat here. You mentioned before we went on the air here that you've got a couple of new programs coming online that you're thinking about, or evaluating.
That's right. Well, the International CCA program have also identified two other specialties. One is resistance management, and the other is sustainability. Those have not been offered in Ontario or in Canada as yet. So we'll be looking at those two specialties to see if there's an interest from our CCA membership. And then if there is from the membership, those would be future specialties that we would see being brought here. As well, the other new initiative that we announced at our January CCA conference was a mentorship program. And that's a program to try and encourage newer certified crop advisors to get involved at the board level in a leadership role and to get involved in the committee level. And I think that's something that all agriculture associations are focusing on and working on, is to get sort of the younger or newer people involved in coming up into those leadership roles. So those are just some things that we'll be looking at.
Right. Well, every time I go to a CCA annual, there's more people there. There's a growing number, and there's more demand for sure for those services. So, hey, thank you so much for your time. We will talk again down the road when these new programs are up and ready to roll.
It sounds good, and thanks very much again for the opportunity to chat about this today, Bernard.